but in all seriousness, he has a family emergency that he had to attend to at the last minute. So he's sorry that he isn't here, but in his stead, we have Mrs. Pabst. And she and I together are going to try to get through this without, we're going to do it. We're going to make him proud of us. So at this time, could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is everybody on? Okay. We will go into open session.
Madam President, I move to amend the Board of Education meeting agenda tonight to remove items number 4, Part F, employment changes, number 11A, contract with Solient Health LLC, and number 13C, dismissal of educational support personnel and employees for reasons other than reduction in force.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Town? Yes. Dr. Howard?
Yes.
And Mrs. Holland?
Yes. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. So with those being struck from the agenda, the first order of business, public comments.
Chris Coyle?
Madam President, members of the board, Ms. Pabst, I appreciate the opportunity to address the board for the first time regarding the request for proposals for student transportation. Back in early March, we responded to the district's request for proposal process with a responsive proposal. As your current partner, we feel that we know you better than any other contractor and will be more successful for the 25-26 school year's first day, which is on August 13th. A lot of steps are required to have a successful start to the next school year, even for first student as your incumbent. One of the things that Jason will show here shortly is just a startup list that we have. There's a very detailed list that, as a current provider, that we've got to do to have a successful startup. So that's something to do. So anybody coming in outside of first student, it's further complicated with the fact is hiring 130 employees to operate 63 routes, which means roughly 70 buses that have to be on-site, inspected, ready to operate. This includes our office and our maintenance team members, establishing effective routes, learn existing protocols, and develop new initiatives for current issues, all in a 77-day process, which is August 13th. Regardless of who it is, that's a significant challenge. And so that's something to think about. First Student is uniquely positioned to provide a good startup to the next school year. While I will not directly address the other bidders' claims outside of an explanation into the previously held bid at Rantoul City Schools regarding its increase versus Danville's. Rantoul City Schools has been a first student partner since 2016. And this is the first bid since their original bid. So we've got a very good relationship with them. They were tasked with the same goal as Danville's administration to validate current pricing. The main difference between Danville and Rantoul City Schools is the fact that Rantoul was adding additional routes, which allowed for a reduced rate among other changes. Rantoul City Schools awarded First Student its bid as there were major questions regarding the two other bidders' ability to provide satisfactory service. Further, our footprint was a major factor that we could back each other up and provide drivers. In closing, I would like to address previous service issues that have been raised by the previous Board of Education and Administration. I'm not going to stand here and say that we have not had our struggles, but I will reiterate that what former board member Schroeder stated during a previous vote regarding the transportation contract, that it has improved over the past 2 years. One of the key changes was bringing Jason Calloway back as the location manager to Danville. This move set the tone to begin the process of bridging gaps with our unionized workforce and with the administration. Jason's crowning achievement through this process was getting the union membership to pass a collective bargaining agreement through a very tough negotiations process that required federal mediation and repeated ratification votes. In a nutshell, First Student and its labor partner have achieved labor peace. Some labor issues stem from the rampant school bus driver shortage that has plagued contractors and school districts throughout the nation. Beginning in 24-25 school year, First Student was only one driver short from being fully staffed. We are at this point after the winter break, we are now 10 drivers short. So that changes real quick. The process that it takes to train and hire somebody is really involved when it comes to a CDL driver. You're looking at basically a month. So, given First Student's larger footprint, we have been able to provide additional drivers to supplement Danville to reduce this impact. We're always looking for good school bus driver candidates, with the new driver's hourly rate being $19 for the 25-26 school year. Candidates can apply at workatfirst.com, F-I-R-S-T, shameless plug, I'll do it anyway. Driver shortages directly affect the ability to provide timely service, and we collect data to provide a location card. Lastly, transparency. We are definitely open for you to come out to the facility, ride on our routes, provide you operational reports on a regular basis. Thank you.
Jason Calloway.
Good evening, Board, and Ms. Paps, and Mr. Hart's stead tonight. My name is Jason Calloway, and I am your transportation manager. I was called to come back to Danville to work with District 118, and my first thought was absolutely not. I didn't want to come back to Danville because I didn't know if I would be received, and I didn't know if it was going to work out. But then I thought about my hometown, and I thought if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Okay, so the first thing that we had to do when we came back was build the morale of this team. The drivers were pretty beat down when I got here. They were depressed, and I had to make them believe in themselves again. And I want to just share with you that they now believe in themselves. And although we still face challenges, great challenges, they have done a terrific job, and I praise them every single week. I let them know how much they are appreciated. I let them know that we are able to accomplish the task at hand. And I also try to take on the burden of when there is negativity that is presented, I try to put it on myself. Say, don't blame yourself, guys. This is on me. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight, before I even share some of the things that we're going to have to go through just to get us ready in less than 80 days, is just the on-time thing. Our on-time performance has really come a long way. Even with our driver challenges, we've been able to borrow other drivers from other locations and be able to get our kids to school safely. And if you were to survey my team, they will tell you, Jason says, get them to school safely. I will take the hit for being late. If we're a few minutes behind, do not get in an accident. Do not do anything that is going to jeopardize safety, because I need to get those kiddos to school safe every day, and that is my number one priority. And I'm glad to say that we are doing a good job at that, and I credit the drivers because they're listening and they really take pride in their work. So over the next 80 days, I'm going to be doing a lot of things to try to get you ready to have an excellent startup. Reviewing all of the things that I have to be able to work within a budget, of course, making sure the fleet is ready to go. By the way, you're really never impacted by fleet. Whenever we have a down bus, there's always a replacement. So our maintenance staff has done an excellent job of keeping the fleet on the road and keeping the fleet safe. Some of the other things that I'll be doing over the next 70 some odd days, reviewing all of our employee information, making sure that all their contact information is up to date, making sure that they also have the things that they need. We have some things planned throughout the summer to also keep our employees engaged. We found that over the years that many times during the summertime months when we're not as busy, people can kind of wander away. So we do things to engage them and bring them back into the location, starting off with our end of our year celebration. This district, our district, we have 63 routes, which includes 44 regular ed routes and 19 sped routes. We've also partnered with the district to bring more training in for special ed so that we can continue to help support our special ed kids and make sure that the safety net around them is nice and tight and there are no gaps. I'll be working on charter, trying to update our charter protocols. I want to say that charter sometimes can be challenging, but this team, they have worked hard for you and they are making charters work, even the last minute charters, even the charters that have a lot of unexpected situations. They're making it work for you. Making sure that our safety equipment is up to date and is ready to go. We are noticing that we are seeing an increase in the need for sped support straps, safety harnesses, different things like that. We've been ordering them at a unprecedented rate. Getting our kickoff meeting together, we already have partnered with Southwest School as we do each year, and we will be hosting our kickoff meeting on July 28th at Southwest School, and please feel free to join us. I'm sorry that I rambled too much and I didn't get through my entire exhaustive list of all the things that we have to do in order to get you ready, but I just wanted to give you an overview of all the things that we are doing to continue the partnership. And I also would like to thank you for the opportunity that you guys gave me to come back to my hometown and to be a part of a great district. Thank you.
Could you tell us the time on July 28th?
Absolutely. It'll be at 9 a.m. 9 a.m.
At Southwest.
Southwest Elementary School, yes.
Mr. Brett?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board and Mrs. Pabst. I'm here just to briefly recognize a Danville High School student. She's not with me here tonight, but I'm here to speak about Danville freshman Simone Modest. So she is a 9th grader in our Avid Elective program. Simone applied and was accepted by Avid Center to be a student leader at the Chicago Summer Institute, July 23rd through 25th. At Summer Institute, which we also have a lot of our own staff attending as well. At Summer Institute, she'll be able to attend student-centered workshops around college and career readiness. She'll be able to share her Avid experiences with attending teachers from across the country. She'll have network opportunities with colleges and earn 30 hours of community service to bolster her resume. This is a very selective process, open to all students in the Avid Elective across the country. And she was one student who was selected out of a nationwide applicant pool. So we're very proud of her, and especially proud of the fact that it came from a freshman student. So just wanted to acknowledge her and make you aware that Simone applied and received this honor. Thank you.
Good evening, Board, Mrs. Pabst, Mark Bases, Director of District Athletics. I'm here tonight to give first a shout out to all the Dr. Fields Award winners. Congratulations, it's an incredible honor. And again, congratulations, thanks for all you do for the kids here in Danville. But also a bigger thank you to one of our former students, Trent Sherfield, who had a wonderful weekend back here in Danville this past weekend. And so I'm going to highlight some of the things that went on. First and foremost, he donated $10,000 back to the DHS football team, which is an incredible gesture on his behalf. It'll go a long way for the team and for the morale. I mean, to see one of the NFL guys coming back, giving back to the kids and to our programs is pretty outstanding. For those of you that don't know Trent, he's a District 118 student, former District 118 student, made his way all the way through elementary school, through high school. His journey wasn't always easy. He was a good athlete, not a five-star recruit, not a top-level recruit by any means, not a straight-A student, but Trent, his work ethic, his determination, there was something about him that was instilled in him here in Danville through his family, through the school system, that he never forgets. And he always comes back, and he always gives back. And he gets a scholarship to play football at Vanderbilt, the SEC, the top conference in the country. Gets there, and he's low on the totem pole, and he finds his way into the starting lineup, and he finds his way into being one of the best receivers they had. He gets a degree from Vanderbilt. That's impressive. He makes it to the NFL. He doesn't get drafted. And not being drafted and making an NFL team is an incredible accomplishment. And he's going into his 8th year this year as a player. So that's a little bit of his background. And again, it's that grit, it's that determination, and he always comes back. He's done his football camp every year since he's been in the league. He's doing it again July 5th. He's added flag football this year for the girls to his camp. He always thinks of us, and no matter where he goes, he's got Danville on his mind, and he's really got the kids of Danville on his mind. So his plan is to build an elite training center for the youth of Danville here as soon as he can get it going. And this training center would have, of course, for sports, he wants study tables, study sessions to happen, some mental health, some recovery, taking care of the body, nutrition, all these things. And he tells the story that when he was here, he had to travel all over the state to get these things. Our current kids, he met with them on Thursday this week, and they were incredible. Our kids were open and honest with them, and he was asking what they need, and they were more than willing to tell. And they talked about cost limitations here for what they want to do. They talked about how many times they're on the road, and then they have to study. And if they could study with a group of friends at a place where they're training, how valuable that would be. And it really touched him. He then had a celebrity basketball game, brought a bunch of his NFL friends back. We had a great turnout at the high school. About 600-700 people turned out. Autograph session afterwards. Kids got to meet and touch these guys and be with them. Really important. And then Saturday night, he had his first annual gala to raise funds. They raised $96,000 for his foundation. It was an incredible night. Danville came out. Danville looked good. Many of the people in the room were there. We had a wonderful time, and it brought the community together around the youth of Danville, and so important. So again, a big, huge public thank you to Trent. I hope that we can find a way to continue to partner with him in the district and make this dream of his a reality, and for the youth here in Danville. So again, thanks to Trent.
Madam President, we have a point of order too. We, in our haste, we did not vote on the consent agenda. Number 4, we voted to amend the board agenda without voting for the consent agenda.
I will entertain a motion to vote on the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Roll call vote. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mrs. Towns?
Yes.
Ms. Collins?
Yes. At this time, we have the honor of presenting the Dr. David Fields Excellence in Teaching Awards.
All right. All right. Good evening, board, Mrs. Pabst, and all of you. I am Stephanie Yates, and I will be the incoming director for the Danville Public School Foundation. With me tonight is our current executive director, Mr. Bob Richard, our foundation board president, Kurt Ellis, the DEA president, Alan Rivers, and the Board of Education president, Darlene Halloran. And we are here to help present the Dr. David L. Fields Excellence in Teaching Awards. So, these awards were established by the Danville Public School Foundation in 2001, and they were named in honor of Dr. David L. Fields, who retired as the Danville Superintendent of Schools after serving 40 years with the district as a teacher, as a principal, and as a superintendent. The awards are bestowed upon an outstanding teacher from the primary, intermediate, and high school levels. Teachers receiving this award represent the finest in teaching, demonstrating a continuing dedication to their students and to their profession. Along with the formal recognition, the foundation provides a $500 cash award to each recipient. The district provides $500 in instructional supplies of the recipient's choice, and the Danville Education Association provides the award itself. The Danville Public School Foundation and the Danville Community Consolidated School District number 118 are honored to announce the recipients of this year's Excellence in Teaching Awards. And helping us tonight are each recipient's principals. So, the first one we're going to start with is Mrs. Carrie Waterman from Edison Elementary School, and she will be introduced by Mrs. Kristen Shanks.
Okay, good evening. I have Mrs. Carrie Waterman here. My nomination's very long, but I did not plan on shortening it, so I will read quickly, but I think it's important because it shows all the reasons that Carrie's wonderful. It was my absolute honor and privilege to nominate Carrie Waterman for the David Fields Outstanding Teacher Award. Carrie embodies everything this award stands for in the form of dedication, excellence, and an endless commitment to students. Throughout her career, she has been a guiding light at Edison Elementary and a shining example of what an outstanding educator can and should be. I cannot imagine a more deserving candidate. Carrie has devoted 31 years to District 118. She has spent the entirety of this time giving all to her students and staff of Edison Elementary. Over the years, she's taught various grade levels, always bringing the same passion, expertise, and compassion to each new challenge. Her loyalty to our district and school is invaluable and has had a lasting impact on generations of students and staff alike. Carrie's classroom is a place where high expectations are the norm. She holds every student to a high standard, regardless of the challenges they may face, and works tirelessly to help each child succeed at the highest possible level. She is both understanding and accommodating, ensuring no student feels overlooked or underestimated. Her persistence is unmatched, especially with students who struggle the most. She refuses to ever give up on any student. Carrie sets a high bar and then lifts her students up to reach it, celebrating every win along the way and making sure her students know they are capable, important, and valued. She also commits her summers to working summer school, ensuring continuity and support for our students year-round. She is the kind of teammate every school dreams of having. Staff naturally trust her because they know she listens, cares, and works towards positive solutions. Whether working with her team teacher, supporting AVID initiatives, contributing to building-wide projects, or helping solve challenges both big and small, she is a positive and uplifting force. Her willingness to work together promotes a true team atmosphere and pushes Edison Elementary forward. Carrie never stops learning. She eagerly participates in professional developments, book studies, avid training, and is always eager to learn. She constantly seeks ways to better understand data and student needs, always striving to be the best educator she can be. Her growth mindset and openness to learning set an inspiring example for colleagues and students alike. When it comes to leadership, Carrie is the quiet, steady presence that every school needs. She leads by example without seeking recognition and embodies the kind of teacher every parent envisions for their child. I can personally attest to this as she has taught my own children. Carrie's leadership is shown not in titles, but in countless lives she has shaped and impacted, and the colleagues she has supported, and the standard of professionalism she models each day. She is a pillar of our building and someone others naturally look to for guidance, support, and inspiration. She is the teacher that every school wishes they could clone. She is loyal, compassionate, and completely dedicated to her students, her colleagues, and her profession. Though she occasionally jokes when we ask about retirement, it is clear she loves her work so deeply that she can hardly imagine leaving it behind, and she makes that clear to us regularly, how much she loves her job. There is no one more deserving of the David L. Fields Outstanding Teacher Award, and I was very proud to submit this nomination on her behalf.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a very proud moment. Thank you.
Congratulations once again. Now, introducing Ms. Jennifer Ramble from Kenneth D. Bailey Academy is Miss Mitzi Campbell.
Good evening, Board of Education, Ms. Paps, and this wonderful lineup of people. I'm Mitzi Campbell, principal at KDBA, and I am so excited to have with me Miss Jennifer Ramble. Mrs. Ramble is a DHS graduate, and she's been teaching with us at KDBA since 2013, which she was my co-teacher at that time. In her current role as a high school teacher and division leader, Mrs. Ramble is well respected amongst her peers and is a true advocate for students. Her classes typically are amongst the top credit earners in the building, which she is surprisingly very competitive with. She makes intentional efforts to keep her students on task during classroom activities through goal setting and backwards planning. Mrs. Ramble is flexible and responsive to her students' academic needs. She regularly tailors the courses she teaches and her methods of instruction to best fit her current population. She played a pivotal role in bringing dual enrollment courses to KDBA, as well as designing and piloting new curriculum that will benefit upcoming classes of students in the alternative learning environment. I think she's already got plans for this summer too, thank goodness. Mrs. Ramble serves on the KDBA, hold on, this is a long list, Avid Site Team, Leadership Team, PBIS Data Team, Discipline Committee, Family Council. She is our DEA building rep. She is the Northridge Middle School track and cross-country coach, and she volunteers for the Danville Soccer Association. She's a busy lady, but that definitely doesn't show in her dedication to our students. Mrs. Ramble's unwavering commitment to school, District 118, and the community makes her a top candidate for the 2025 Dr. David L. Fields Award. I can say that Mrs. Ramble truly is one of the best people I've ever met in my life. She raises the bar for all of us in her work family, and it is truly a privilege and an honor to work with her every single day. Congratulations, Mrs. Ramble.
Congratulations. Gosh, this is fun. Introducing Ms. Bethany Free is Danville High School Principal, Mr. Jacob Bretz.
Hello, we are here to recognize Miss Bethany Free. Miss Free has worked in District 118 since the start of the 2012-2013 school year. She began her career at Northridge Middle School as a data instructional facilitator, and she has worked as a math teacher at DHS since the start of the 2016-2017 school year. Ms. Free teaches some of our most vulnerable learners in both algebra and transitional algebra. This year, she took on the role of a flex support teacher as well, in addition to her math teaching schedule. Currently, Ms. Free has a pass rate of 88% while teaching all freshmen, with 2 of her sections nearing a 95% pass rate. Ms. Free's lessons keep students active and engaged, and she provides effective feedback for her students. As a result, 94.5% of her students met their growth targets this year. Ms. Free is an important contributor to the Algebra PLC. Last year, she led the transitional algebra team to a pass rate of 96.3%. This year, she contributed to the Algebra PLC that finished the first semester with a combined 96% pass rate. She has shown the ability to successfully lead and contribute to a highly functioning algebra team focused on results. Ms. Free genuinely engages in professional learning. She has worked with the University of Illinois math education professor Adam Petzel and participated in 2 avid communities of practice to grow her instruction. Ms. Free actively contributes strategies and ideas for instructional improvement with her fellow algebra and transitional algebra teachers. She has actively mentored and invested in the professional growth of 2 members of the Algebra PLC that are located on either side of her classroom. Her steady presence and guidance have been invaluable to the support of both teachers. When I think about every year who should be the nominee for the high school, I always think about who is doing excellent work in relative obscurity, relative anonymity. And Ms. Free has a classroom that's in a pretty highly trafficked part of the building. If you ever got off the second floor elevator, you're staring straight at her door. Yet not many people, I think, realize the magic that is happening in room 210. And I felt it was time that everybody knew. So congratulations, Ms. Free.
Congratulations to all. Thank you.
Item number 7, the resignation of a board member. I think it's been obvious for the last few meetings that we have an empty seat. We received a letter of resignation from Pastor Thomas Miller, who intends to not serve the last 2 years of his term on the board. So at this time, we will follow our board policy in replacing his membership on the board. As of tomorrow morning, applications will be available on the website. It will also, there'll be a hard copy here at the desk for anybody that would like to pick up a copy. They will be due on the 13th. They need to be submitted in person here at the Fields Building. And at the meeting on the 28th, thank you. At the meeting on the 28th, we will have interviews. On the 18th, sorry. We will have interviews of those people who've applied, and then we will make a decision. We're anxious to have a full board to move forward on our very full agenda this summer. The letter simply states, "To whom this may concern, this is my official notice to Danville School District 118 that I am resigning from Danville School District 118 School Board as of today, signed 5/9/25. So, anybody that wants a voice in what's happening with the school district, here's your chance, and you don't even have to put signs out. So, that'll be good. Ownership in education, first reading.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Mrs. Pabst. I'm Justin Thorlton, principal of Northeast Elementary Magnet School. I'm here with Mr. Lockhart, assistant principal at Mark Dimon Elementary School, and together we worked on the ownership and education just update this school year. Together we had 3 meetings welcoming staff members and community members. We had one in February, March, and April. Had lots of discussions about what the OIE needed, what things needed to be changed. We ended up with basically lots of cell phone conversation. I believe Mr. Bretz is next to talk more about the high school and cell phones, but basically the main change that we made, I believe you have the memo, there was something about an electronic paging device. I think those are outdated, so we kind of got rid of that one. But we did change, we did cross out the teacher grants permission, and then they could have the cell phone. And we moved that to when the teacher instructor authorized the student to have a device for educational purposes. So if Mr. Lockhart's a teacher and said, Justin, if you want your cell phone out, you can. That wouldn't necessarily be allowed. It would be if I had a reason to have my cell phone for educational purposes, then he could allow it. So that's the main thing that we changed. Had some nice conversations other than that, but does anybody have any questions about the changes that were made or how the OIE works? All right. Well, this is just a first reading, correct?
That's
Okay.
correct. It's a first reading.
All right.
Thank you.
Of
Thank you
course.
for your work. Mr. Bretz is going to give us an informational item on the Yonder cell phone pouches.
Good evening again, Board and Ms. Pabst. I'm Jacob Bretz, principal of the high school. I'm here to either be incredibly popular or unpopular, depending on your opinion. So I'm here to present an informational item and formally request funding for Yonder's cell phone pouches for the high school. Before I kind of get into what those are and the cost, which I'm sure is of interest to many. A quick background. So right now there is a impending legislation. It has been passed by the Senate. It is currently in committee in the House that will require school districts by the beginning of the 2026-2027 school year to adopt and implement not just a cell phone policy, but a wireless communication device policy that prohibits students from using them during instructional time and has guidance for the secure and accessible storage of wireless communication devices during instructional time. With that, there were 5 reasons why there might be exceptions made. One being when a teacher or instructor has authorized the student to use it for educational purposes, in an emergency or in response to an imminent threat or safety. Third is when a licensed physician determines that possession and use of a wireless communication device is necessary for the health or well-being of a student. Number 4 is to fulfill an individualized education plan or Section 504 plan. And number 5 is when the wireless communication device is necessary for students who are English language learners. I did do a little bit of research before I came and found the bill has actually been amended twice. From what I can tell and from what I have read off of the General Assembly website, some of the wording has been changed and tightened up a little bit. So now one of the big changes is it states that districts need to implement a wireless communication device policy that, key words here, at a minimum, prohibits student use from using a wireless communication device during instructional time. And it has limited from 5 to 3 the reasons why a device might be allowed. It has taken out the language around a teacher allowing it for educational purposes. If you ask me, I don't think there are any educational purposes for a cell phone anymore in a classroom. We provide any technological devices a student needs to be engaged in their work. And it actually also has removed the item around imminent threat and safety. So how Yonder pouches work is Yonder is a company. They're a very philosophy-based company focused on creating phone-free spaces. So what would happen is students would be assigned a neoprene magnetically locking phone case where they would be expected to put their cell phone, and their smartwatch in at the beginning of the day. The student maintains possession of their devices throughout the day. So the school is not in possession of the student device or devices as long as they comply with the policy. Students are given these pouches to take to and from school. So it's like a Chromebook or a library book or a charger or a textbook. Students are assigned them at the beginning of the year. They're collected at the end of the year. And then upon exit from school or an early dismissal, students use magnetic unlocking stations to unlock their pouches, and then of course use them as they leave school, or if they left school on a dismissal or for a game or whatever it might be. I provided a quote for you. The quote for all of Danville High School, I've been told that these pouches have a lifespan of 1.5 to 2 graduating classes, so for about 6 to 8 years. The total, I know I gave you a range on the memo. I have an updated quote. The exact quote is $42,000, $42,742.50. The main items in the quote I'd bring your attention to, and one thing that is appealing to me about the company is they are not just selling you the pouches and then saying thank you for your money, see you later. They partner with you on both implementation, logistics planning, policy creation, and a launch plan. This is providing 1,200 pouches, also a 15% buffer overage pouches for students who may have legitimately lost them and need a replacement. The replacements do cost $30. They do also provide Velcro cases that aren't magnetically locking for the students who may fall under one of the exceptions for, say, an IEP or medical exception. And then they also provide the necessary number of both mounted and handheld magnetic unlocking stations for students to unlock their phones at the end of the day. With that, I am certain some of you have questions.
Would you say the amount again?
Yes, sir. $42,742.50. I did neglect to add this would be able to be paid for out of Title IV federal grant money. So it comes out to about $30 to $35 a student.
And is that a subscription? Is it an annual thing? Is it a?
It would last us anywhere from 6 to 8 years, assuming students are taking care of the pouches that they've been checked out. Yes, Ms. Payne.
Will they be able to unlock it during the day, or is there a certain mechanism that says that this time you can?
No, I am proposing and asking that we have inaccessible cell phones from 8:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. unless you are leaving school early or going on a field trip.
I saw the video from the company because one of the concerns was how cumbersome it may be to unlock the pouches. I was very impressed with the video. There were several stations at the exit. Students just tap and they're unlocked. It was just seamless. It really isn't cumbersome at all. The other concern that came up in the parent meeting was, I want my child to have a phone in case there's an emergency. I need to be able to get a hold of them. The company addressed that concern by saying, as educators, as an institution, our number one concern should be the safety of the student. We need to get our students to safety first. And at those safe locations where our students go in an emergency will be unlocking stations that they can then have access to their phone. So they addressed that. I was satisfied with that.
I think another thing to add is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm fine.
Is that the last thing a first responder is going to need or want is 1,200 different messages going out at the time of peak panic and peak emergency. God forbid we ever end up in a situation like that. Also, the last thing I think we want our kids focusing on is their phones. I think we want them focused on getting to safety. And also the off chance that some sort of alert that is not on silence could actually alert an intruder intending on doing harm to where students are located. So the purpose would be to get them to safety, both either at the rendezvous point at the YMCA or those who stayed in the building after a threat was eliminated, and we given the all clear by the Damon Police Department, bringing them to a one location within the building to then unlock the phones to make contact with their families in a very extreme situation of that nature.
Mr. Bretz, what I found interesting was the teachers' comments during the Viking Roundtable. Can you talk a little bit about how the staff feel about this? And then the data that the one teacher gave us, cell phone versus no cell phone, and the academic performance.
Oh, yeah. So one of our deans actually did a survey for a grad school class with permission of Mr. Hart on the level of how big of a disruption the number one issue, and like how important or how big of an issue this is for teachers. At the high school, on a scale of 1 to 10, the average was an 8.2, I believe, when it comes to how the level of challenge cell phones are to teachers trying to instruct and teach students in the classroom. At one of our first meeting, which was the original scheduled Viking Roundtable, April 29th, I did have some teachers come. Mr. Covey shared some data of a student that was specifically just completely opting out from doing any work and was just being on his phone. And keep in mind, this was actually a repeater world history class. We're talking about struggling learners here. I happen to know that student had a good relationship with a former teacher now in Nashville. So we actually got on a call with him and worked out an arrangement for that student to turn their phone in to Mr. Covey every day. And that student, in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, had gotten all of their work in and had gone from failing the class to having a B in the class. In subsequent meetings I had with parents, I had 2 other parent meetings. The last meeting, one thing that struck me was, not everybody was necessarily overly enthusiastic about the idea. The one thing they actually asked for the most was just whatever you decide, can you just be consistent with it? And I think that the Yonder pouch is what is going to provide the maximum amount of consistency to any type of phone restriction within Danville High School. I'll also add, I just interviewed a social studies teacher for an opening fresh out of college. He just student taught. One of our interview questions is, what's the most challenging behavioral situation that you have faced and how did you deal with it? And the first thing out of his mouth was keeping kids off of their phones. He didn't talk about a fight. He didn't talk about anybody cussing him out. He didn't talk about a parent cussing him out or getting on him because of a phone call he made about their child. It was without hesitation. He said, getting students to stay off of their phones and engage with me.
Mr. Bretz, I appreciate that you've been willing to talk to me about this. You and I have talked a lot about this, so thank you for that.
No problem.
I wonder, 47,000 maybe.
42.
42.
Yeah.
Plus the subscription fee annually, which isn't included. I don't know. Maybe it is. I think it was like $4,500 or something, if I remember, per year for Yonder.
I'll get clarification on that. I don't think there is a subscription fee, but I'm meeting with them again tomorrow as a follow-up, so I'll ask.
That aside, there are a lot of other things you could have proposed besides spending that much money, but you've decided against it. I think it's important maybe for you to just tell us what a few of those were. And then my second thing is, if you could tell me if you believe there'll be at least for DHS, a cell phone policy update where you punish the phone and not the student, and what that might look like.
Yes. Okay, so first question, I do understand the wide eyes and the price tag, although I do think $30, $35 per student over the course of 6 to 8 years for what is, I think, becoming blatantly obvious as the biggest challenge to learning and engagement is probably worth it in my opinion. So I did a lot of research talking to other schools, both that use Yonder and have other type of phone confiscation programs, and these suspend the phone, not the child. I also met with all of the teachers one last time before I came up in front of you last week because it's in my nature, but I'm very sensitive to the overcorrection, right? And so we have not had a good approach to disciplining cell phones really since they've become such a big issue. So the last 2 years, we have allowed them in classrooms and hallways. It is incredibly challenging for teachers to get students back off of their phones once they have access to them. And I asked them, I said, if this gets approved, like we are in it, like this has to work, there's no going back, like we are all in on this now. Do you really want this? And every single teacher in all 3 meetings, I broke the teaching staff, classroom staff up into 3 groups, and every single person said, yes, can you please ask for this? There were, even the article that you sent me about other approaches schools have taken, like phone caddies on the back of the door, or everybody come in and put your phone in the lockbox. I think that those approaches is a way to address both the legislation and just what is a challenge that needs to be addressed anyway, is further just dumping another task in the lap of our already overworked teachers. I'm not naive to think that everybody's going to love it and jump on board, but I do think over time it has the potential to really transform the culture of the high school. The other thing is, with any other approach, the student viewpoint is going to be, how can I get away with it without getting caught or punished? Versus now, when you have the Yonder pouch, the 2 schools that I talked to that use it, I talked to a high school in Peoria who uses them, grades 7 through 12. Ann Urbana Middle School uses them. They said after some initial growing pains till about Labor Day, it is completely abnormal to see a cell phone in a classroom or a hallway at those schools. It is, and under the Yonder pouch system, it's going to shift the perspective of the students are going to start keeping each other accountable. They're not going to let some other student get away with it if my pouch is magnetically locked in my backpack. I think with anything, it's just going to come down to the level of commitment, honestly, of myself and the administration, and that those of you who, and no policy is any better than the level of enforcement, the consistency, and the commitment to the enforcement. And there's been cell phone bans passed across the country, right? I prefer to not really look at it as a ban. I think it's more of a tool to increase engagement and learning. But it's the same reason Illinois is looking at it, and I don't think that's a coincidence. In terms of consequences, one, I was hesitant to come in front of you with a whole laid out, this offense we're going to do this offense we're going to do this, because that is one thing that the company does, is they partner with you and they'll talk to you about what are schools who are doing this at a high level and finding success with it doing. And they told me that they'd be frank if we came on board. These are things that schools that we partnered with that they're not doing it well because they're not following what we say are our best practices. I will tell you, though, that there will not be any warnings. Like if we see a phone under the Yonder system, like, it's going to get taken and your parents going to have to come pick it up. And you're going to have to come pick it up when the office closes, and Mrs. Baker or any other secretary is not waiting around for somebody to get off work. This is something that I think I've built up a lot of social capital over the last 18 years, and I'm willing to spend a little bit of it on this, if I'm being honest. I just don't think that a phone confiscation system is something that is sustainable and maintainable over the course of an entire school year. I really, really don't. And like, I have seen other some of the things some of the school policies that stuck out to me that really had some teeth to them. One is actually my old high school. The first offense, it gets taken for the day. The student can get it at the end of the day. Second offense, the parent has to come pick it up. Third offense, the student has to turn it in at the door for a week. I asked, how do you do that? The principal said, I stand at the door with a list every day. Which if we ended up having to do that, I would be willing to do that. Fourth offense, they lose it for the rest of the quarter. Then it resets at the quarter. I did call, while they're a little bit different in makeup, I did call North Vermilion across the border because Indiana's been under cell phone legislation for a couple of years and they are nearby. She's on a third offense, their students lose it for the entire semester. I just think without the simplicity and the consistency the Yonder pouches could provide, I don't see how it is a maintainable thing for administration to go around taking students' cell phones, because the last thing I want to ask teachers to do is to take a student's phone. I think it's going to increase conflict. I think it's how does the teacher get that to the office? I don't want them to have to be in charge of someone's phone until they have a free period 4 class periods later. And I think students putting them, say, in over-the-door caddies or boxes mounted on the wall, I think we're also asking for phones to go missing and students to inevitably take someone else's phone either intentionally or as a joke, and that's going to create a whole other subset of issues. So I know that's a little long-winded. I don't know if I answered all aspects of your question, but
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
yes, Dr. Halloran.
Does the legislation say how low in the, I mean, is it middle schools? Is it elementary schools?
That's a good question. It's reading off the original. It just says,
I think it's K through 12.
synopsis as reduced, it amends the school code, provides that on or before 26-27 school year, each school board shall adopt and implement a wireless communication device policy. And then it lists out all the expectations and the exceptions. So from what my understanding is, it would be K-12. Based on the survey Ms. Cohorst, our dean, put out, the level of concern rose on average as you went up from middle or elementary to Southview to Northridge to Danville High School being the highest. The highest rating of concern came from the high school teachers.
And is the budget that you said all schools, or is it the high school?
That is just the high school, Dr. Halloran.
Sorry.
Oh, they're all fair questions.
Mr. Bretz, the other pro I saw in the video was a social aspect of it. The students at first obviously were not happy about it, but what they found, our teachers have indicated to us that our students cannot work in a group setting very well. They don't know how to work with your peers on a group project. They just don't know how to do it. That's concerning. But the video, the students indicated they didn't have their phones. They didn't know what else to do. They started checking out library books. They started bringing games to school and actually interacting socially with one another. And it's no secret since COVID, our kids are socially awkward. They do not know how to interact with one another, let alone adults. So I just think that was a pro, in my opinion. That was a definite pro towards this device.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that video clip, they had the news agency doing the highlight on that high school in Virginia that has this program. There's 6 student focus group. They were upper level students, and I think the biggest thing that struck me was they all were very honest that while they still wished they could have them, they knew this was better for them. And the last student said basically something to the effect of, they took something from me, but because of that, it gave me something else, which was somewhat of a mental freedom and ability to relax. I will point out actually the article that Mr. Easton shared with me, which was, I think, very balanced. It was neither a hit piece on the program nor an endorsement of it. And it cited that students are on their phones in a 6.5-hour school day, 1.5 hours, which is 23%. I don't think we want our students on their phones for a quarter of the school day. And I don't think the pervasiveness of them is something that is sustainable to go around and take a phone every time we see it in a consistent manner that will not tremendously overwork our teachers and damage relationships between our teachers and our students.
The other thing that you didn't mention in that it would be cell phone free from 8 o'clock to whatever
3
end of the day.
8:30 to 3
3 p.m.
Well, 8 when we let students in.
Right. what you didn't mention is that under other systems where over-the-door caddies or whatever, the time it takes for the students to turn their phones in that cuts into educational time for the teachers is a huge thing. When they have access to their phones during passing time or whatever, to get those all collected every hour takes a great deal of instructional time. I think that's a valid point.
And I also think it's important to acknowledge, like, those sitting and listening to this as a parent who might either not want it or be hesitant about it. Like, I get the peace of mind it can bring to have that instant access to your child. I actually told a personal story in one of the meetings where my son does not have a phone because he's 8, but they let them every once in a while at his after-school program. He's in 2nd grade. They call it Toy Day, which seems like a euphemism to bring your electronic device. So he brings his iPad, and there was a day that, so he's learned to figure out he can text from it. So he was texting me and his mom, and like, so I got to, like, I was staying late that night, so when I have to stay late for things like this, like, I don't see my kids before they go to bed, and so I was able to, like, tell him I loved him, ask him about his day. My wife was able to tell him exactly what time she was gonna pick him up that day. And it was a nice, like, little 1 minute, 2 minute interaction between the three of us. And after it was done, I texted my wife. And I said, Natalie, I think I get it now. I think I get why parents want their child to have access to their phones. I understand it. Now, as an educator, I am willing to give up that access to my kid 100 times out of 100. But I think it is important to acknowledge, like, and not just dismiss that feeling of a parent that your kids have every technological device they need. They're on their phones too much. You need to get a hold of them, call the school, get over it. Like that's not what I'm saying. I just think that the sacrifice or the inconvenience of having to call the school or, quite frankly, email your child on the Chromebook they're carrying around at their district-provided email address, while not quite as convenient as sending a text, is worth the inconvenience for the potential benefit that it could have, because we're willing to go through inconveniences all the time as a society when it's something that we want. We do it at airports, we do it at games, we do it everywhere when it's something that we want. And I'm trying to paint the picture without coming at the kids, because the students are just simply, one, doing what they've been allowed to do, and operating in a world that they've grown up in that we've created for them.
Yeah, and Mr. Bretz, it's also true physiologically addicted to the dopamine hit that comes from cell phones, proven by science, right?
That is true.
As adults and children.
That is true, and I kind of liken it to the analogy of, at best, we can say we are all emotionally attached to our phones, not just the students.
Yeah.
In anywhere else in life, if we were trying to limit our emotional attachment to something, we would not, or someone trying to help us would not allow us to carry that thing around in our pocket accessible the entire day. We wouldn't do it with an alcoholic. We wouldn't do it with a drug addict, and we wouldn't do it with someone trying to lose weight. Like we would limit our exposure to it, and I think letting our students carry them around with immediate access to them, with the amount of content and stimulation that is at their fingertips, is just something that teachers and schools can no longer compete with. They just can't.
Well, Mr. Bretz, I want to thank you. I know you've had many sleepless nights.
I've
thinking
changed my
about
mind so many times about this.
Changed your mind. You've researched. You have provided parents and those of us on the Viking Roundtable with lots of information to consider. I thank you for your work. I know it's been hours and hours of work, and I appreciate the effort you've made.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it as well, and we appreciate you just even giving us the consideration for it to be a possibility.
So this will come up for a vote when?
I believe in June.
At the June meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll look forward to it.
June 18th? All right. I guess I better be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Mr. Oldfield and operations.
Good evening, Board of Education, Mrs. Pabst, Seth Oldfield, Director of Operations. The Operations Department plays a critical role in supporting the core functions of the Danville School District by overseeing a wide range of systems and services that ensure the safety, functionality, and well-being of students, staff, and facilities. The Director of Operations position was not only created to manage and support these systems and services, but also to work across departments to find savings opportunities for the district and ultimately taxpayers. If the board's interested, I'm happy to share all of the savings opportunities we've identified and acted upon this year. But tonight we're here to talk about dental insurance and the self-funded plan that we implemented at the beginning of the year. This is just one example of the savings the Operations Department identified and secured for the calendar year. The Board of Education authorized the Operations Department to negotiate with Delta Dental of Illinois and move the district from a fully insured benefit program to a self-funded administrative services only program with no change in employee out-of-pocket premiums, deductibles, benefit maximums, or services covered. The new program has been more successful than we initially anticipated. I have Ms. Hoffman, our benefits coordinator for the district, and she'll outline the particulars of this endeavor.
Good evening. I'm Kim Hoffman, Benefits Coordinator, and I'd like to share with you the money that the district has saved by taking our dental plan from fully insured to self-funded. But first, let me explain to you the difference between being fully insured and self-funded. Being fully insured, the district pays a flat premium for the insurance company to process and pay all claims. Then at renewal, the higher the claim activity being paid out gives the potential of rates to increase. If we don't have a lot of claim activity, the rates have a tendency to stay the same. With being self-funded, the employer is 100% financially responsible for all claims paid. All benefits are paid by the district, not the insurer. The insurer acts as the third-party administrator. For us, that is Delta Dental. Delta Dental provides the administration services such as processing claims under the benefit and paying the provider for us for a fee of $5.99 per employee enrolled in the plan. The premiums paid by the employees for dental coverage goes into account specifically for dental, and then the claims are paid directly from that account. The good thing is that our rates when fully insured has remained about the same the last couple of years, and the benefit has also remained the same. It's the same coverage, nothing has changed there. Looking at January through April of 2024 as a fully insured plan, you can see that it has cost the district $103,455 for dental coverage. And then if we look at the numbers for the same months, January through April in 2025, for this year, the district has only spent $69,054. So that has given us a $34,401 savings over last year, which does include the administration fees. For 2025, we are projecting a savings total of $96,368 over last year. This is something that we wanted to try this year, and I think it's been successful. It has definitely benefited the district, and I think this was a good decision to do. Thank you.
Any questions? It's pretty straightforward, but.
Any questions?
I do. How many dentists do we have available?
There's
our
4 actually in our network. We have Danville Family Dental, Aspen Dental, and Dr. Randall Ashton. So I'm sorry, that's only 3 here in the Danville area. There are others, and the employee can go to deltadental.com and print off a listing of like in other areas, like if they was interested in Champaign-Urbana or anywhere else.
Okay. Prior to 1/1/25, how many did we have?
Still 3.
Yeah, Delta, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Harlan?
Question for the administrative fee, is that per employee or is
Yeah,
that
that's
per
per
beneficiary?
No, per employee enrolled in the plan.
And one small correction to that, the administrative fee is actually $4.74 per employee per month, or per enrolled employee per month. There was a $1.25 fee on top of that that went to our broker as a commission. But the board voted or approved a new broker, and they have agreed to waive that, and they are not charging us a commission for the dental plan at this time for the entire term of the contract, actually, so all 3 years.
I was just gonna respond to Kim. Delta Dental's the same plan that all state employees in Illinois have too, if you're working for the state of Illinois. So that means that's what I have.
That's it? Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, and we amended the agenda to eliminate A, so, Lindsay, Ms. Hall?
Good evening, Board, Mrs. Pabst. Lindsay Nixon, Assistant Director of Special Education here. The first is I am recommending a contract with Select Savvy. So in order to maintain our legal obligations, of course, we must employ a physical therapist to provide the school-based physical therapy services that students in special education do require if they qualify for those. And we've had a posting for many, many years. And, you know, with the staffing crisis, it's been very difficult for us to be able to fill that. So just like last year, we would like to continue our contract with Select Savvy for a physical therapist. This has gone down from 20 hours this past school year to, we're recommending 15 hours per week at $89 per hour. This individual is the same one, again, as last year. She is licensed physical therapist in the state of Illinois, and would be providing the virtual physical therapy services, writing the IEPs, and of course, supervising our physical therapist assistant that we employ here at the district in person.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Do we have
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions?
I'm sorry. Any questions? I anticipated that.
I do.
Wait,
Oh,
Kim does.
okay.
You go ahead.
No, I was putting you out.
Can you explain how the virtual part works? So you mentioned that we have an assistant.
Yes, we have a physical therapist assistant here on site that provides a lot of the specific therapies in person to the students. But also we have to have a physical therapist, a licensed one, that does the evaluations to see if they qualify or not for those services, and then actually writes the IEPs for those students. Their goals, how many, they make the recommendation on like how many minutes a week or a month that they need those services, and then they supervise the PTA in implementing those goals.
How many students do we currently have receiving these services?
Oh gosh, we're probably at 10 to 12, give or take.
I'm just reading the fine print. It's not really a question, but you did post this position and no one applied. And so you posted it thoroughly on in lots of places. People could have found it, but we just couldn't attract anyone to apply to come in person. And so that's why you've made this decision to do the virtual.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Dr. Howard?
Yes.
Mrs. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. You have one more?
Yes, I'm gonna stay, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, good. So again, to meet our legal obligations of providing speech and language services to students in special education who require those services, we would also like to continue our contract with Taylor Speech Therapy. Again, this would be 20 hours per week, and this is more of a hybrid of some virtual, maybe attending meetings virtually on a computer, of course, doing the paperwork and that on the computer, but then some of those services in person. So we would like to continue that 20 hours per week at $100 per hour.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion, any questions? How many speech pathologists do we hire in the district?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna turn to Molly for that. Off the top of your head, what are we at now? 12 maybe? I have to count.
15 to 20 speech
More than
pathologists,
15
and
to
speech
20.
pathologists have a maximum of 60 on their caseloads. That's a state law, so we cannot go above that. So we have to offer those services in some manner to our students. We would not be able to do that without our contract agencies.
So how many did you say? I'm sorry.
15 to 20.
15 to 20 any given year. There's several in preschool, one at each elementary building. One was split between Danville High School and Northridge.
I just want to say something about speech therapy and why public education is so great. I think this is one of the reasons why you send your kids to public school, because we can provide this kind of therapy. Speech therapy is very expensive, and it's covered by public education because the taxpayers are very generous. I was in speech therapy for many years as a student, and I know lots of students benefit from it. I'm sure you can tell us that you see growth in our students because of speech therapy.
Absolutely, it's directly linked to their reading abilities. Our speech therapists know all about phonological awareness and all that, and help support our young K-1-2 teachers. We try, if we have enough therapists, to provide language lessons in our K-1 classrooms. We're not always able to do that. It depends on the year, and it depends how much staff that we have. It's also important to note that we do have an obligation to every student in Danville that goes to school in Danville, regardless if it's a private here in District 118 or in one of the parochial schools. We have child find obligations. So we offer services to students who go to our parochial schools or homeschooled as well, and many of those services are speech.
And then
So
one other question too, just for transparency, what does the acronym IDEA stand for, in your opinion? Or actually, what's IDEA? What's that mean for a
Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act.
So that's state funding.
The funding. That's federal funding.
Federal funding.
And so that's where this contract would be paid from.
Thank you.
And that money hasn't been compromised?
Not yet.
Knock on wood.
Not for next school
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
Although our grant's not out yet, we have not have access to it yet.
Do we have postings for speech therapists?
For the last 13 years at least. That Mrs.
It
Pepsi and I
never
were able
comes
to
down.
look back last year to at least 13 years.
That and PT, they never come down.
It never comes down.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a comment. That is, over the last several years, speech therapy has become, in my practice, I'm an adult medicine doctor, and has become in my practice, and I know through children too, very much more focused on cognitive development. One of the referrals that people who I see for concussions, for instance, are very surprised that I'm sending them to physical therapy, or rather speech therapy, because they are talking fine, but their brain isn't working. And that I know is present in the adult, and it's also present in children. That it's very much more than just whether you can say your R's or not.
Correct.
And I think for general public who don't think about it very much, it's much more in depth than that,
Yeah,
because it teaches you
expressive
to
language.
think.
Yeah.
Very much
Expressive,
teaches you to
receptive,
think.
Processing language.
Also communication in general. Our speech pathologists work with our students who are nonverbal and help them, whether it's a device like an iPad or if it's a system of cards because an iPad's too sophisticated for that student. It's working with our deaf and hard of hearing teacher on signing and things like that. So it's communication in general, whether it's speech or not, language and saying your R's, right? I mean, it's a lot, and I think we sometimes don't give them the credit that they deserve for knowing all of those pieces and working with our staff for sure.
Sorry, one more. I think you've explained it well, why we need this in our district. One of the concerns I have is this is billed at $100 per hour. Is this comparable to what we already currently pay our, I guess you call them in-house speech pathologists or speech therapists?
We do our very best. I do think that one of the things we do have to understand is it's a benefits package to our staff members. So what their salary is and also what they're receiving in dental insurance and what we're paying TRS is a part of the whole package. So they may not, their hourly rate that they get on their paycheck may not be exactly the same as this rate. You do have to include a benefits package in with those staff members. So I'm not prepared to say exactly what each staff member's hourly rate is.
Of course not, but I think that's important that the public realize it's not
Mhm.
just an hourly, it's a full package. Because that's a lot. So, but I think it's
It's
important that
not
they
as
know
much
that.
as many other agencies are billing at.
Yeah, and we're not paying their pension obligations here.
Right.
You're
And
talking about a lot of things.
This particular company has not raised their rates in, this will be the 4th year in a row for us. It's been this rate for the 4 years.
For Ms. Taylor?
Anything else? Thank you. I think that was very, very helpful. So I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve.
We did.
Oh, we did that already?
Yeah.
We did it? Oh yeah, and then we had a discussion. Oh, yeah, okay. Roll call vote.
Dr. Howard?
Yes.
Mrs. Tam?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corey? Yes. Mrs. House?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. Item number 12, Business and Finance, Mrs. Rankin.
Good evening, Board, PAPS D118 family. I am Narcissus Rankin, Director of Business and Finance. And this evening, I have a transportation bid recommendation for the Board of Education. The district solicited competitive bids for student transportation services beginning with the 25-26 school year through 2029-2030 with extension options. The bid opening took place on March 15th, at which we received bids from 3 vendors: First Student, Robinson Transport, and Yellow Bus Group. Per Section 10-20-21 of the School Code, student transportation contracts must be awarded by first considering the bidder or bidders most able to provide safety and comfort for pupils, stability of service, the factors required in the bid documents, and then price. This is a different standard from lowest responsible bidder. Just for your, the district's reimbursement rate for its transportation claims has been an average of 72% over the last 5 years, and it is predicted to be about 66% for FY25. After reviewing the bids, we determined the following. Yellow Bus Group was recently formed and therefore was not able to provide the required audited financial report for the most recent year, nor a description of its present operations, including a list of outstanding transportation contracts with the number of school buses used and the first year transportation services were furnished. As a result, the administration finds that Yellow Bus Group's bid does not meet all of the bid requirements, and therefore Yellow Bus Group is not a responsible bidder. Robinson Transport failed to provide a description of its present operations and a list of outstanding transportation contracts, including the number of school buses used and the first year transportation service was furnished. Additionally, Robinson Transport does not currently own or lease bus vehicles required to service the routes. Robinson Transport did contact the district after the closing in an attempt to provide additional documentation regarding the buses that was not originally included in the bid documents at the bid opening on March 25th. While we can waive technicalities in bidding, the board does not have the authority to waive substantial errors or omissions in the bid submissions. Without a description of Robinson Transportation's present operations and a list of outstanding transportation contracts, we are not able to evaluate whether Robinson Transportation has the capacity to fulfill the district's needs in a stable and consistent manner. In addition, without confirmation that Robinson Transportation currently owns or leases enough vehicles to service the district routes, we cannot evaluate if Robinson Transportation will have sufficient vehicle capacity to ensure stable and reliable service. Robinson's transportation failure to provide this information is not a technicality. Instead, the lack of information about operations, current contracts, and vehicle lease ownerships are substantial omissions that the administration, in consultation with the board's legal counsel, thinks are not waivable. First Student provided a complete and thorough bid and demonstrated that it will be best positioned to provide safety and comfort for pupils and stability of service. I did include the bid specifications and bid summary for your review. The increase for year one is $694,640.95, which is an 11.29 increase. The percentage increases for year 2 through 5 will be 7%, 4%, 4%, and 4%. First Student has provided transportation for Danville School District 118 for more than 20 years. It continues to have a safe driving record with minimal fender benders and no major accidents. In addition, because neighboring districts also use First Student for transportation services, the district is able to borrow drivers during times of significant shortage. We have continued to work collaboratively to provide quality student-focused services, and it is our recommendation that the Board of Education award the student transportation bid for the 25-2030 school years to First Student as presented.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions?
Yeah, I do. We've been going over this. I'm concerned why we waited till the end of the school year. The contract was not, we didn't rebid after we discussed this 2 meetings ago. I appreciate the gentleman that was here from First Student, but I'm looking at the situation. We have some buses that are delivering kids to the same street. I know that the routing comes from Montana, which I don't quite understand since we live in Illinois. We still have issues of buses coming in late. I know you're trying to do better, but it affects the instructional value at school. I just hope that First Student actually improves at least 95%. Because it shouldn't be every time the kids go out in the afternoon that they have to look for another number for their bus. That shouldn't happen. Sometimes you have to not deal with so much technology and do some hand work. When we had more students in the district, we didn't have some of the problems we have today with fewer students. I know there's a problem with, I know he said we're short 10 drivers. We have to do something to make sure that those drivers are willing to come in every day and do the job. We just have to do better. Financially as well as making sure the kids get to school on time and safe.
Okay, can I just add that the process that we just started actually in like November, December, I did a little bit of research to see what everybody else's percentages were, and we actually were trying to do an extension, just to see if we could do an extension without having a big financial increase to the district. So we did consult with the legal counsel, and we were not able to do that, which is why we went out to bid in March.
Ms.
Any
Rankin,
other?
Ms. Rankin, I have a question. In your memo to Mr. Hart, you mentioned that the district's reimbursement rate is expected to go down to 66%. Is that due to the General Assembly, or is something else going on?
So that is, I believe that it is due to what's happening in the state. But I just want to say, like, I did the average for 5 years, it was 72%. Well, in 2023, it was 65%. So I think it just kind of fluctuates.
In 23?
Mm-hmm. So like in 2022, it was, let me give you the exact number.
Right, and
It was 78%. Then it went to 65. So the 72% is an average over
Right.
the last 5 years.
And I think it's also worth noting, though it's not listed here, just for the public to know, this contract, though, is very large. It does not include diesel fuel, correct?
Yeah, the district has diesel. The diesel fuel we pay for.
We buy
We have a
separately.
supplier. Yes.
We buy
We
bulk
provide it.
separately, yeah.
Hmm.
So it's not the entire amount of transportation for the district, but only a partial amount.
It is only the first student's portion of
Yeah.
the transportation for the district. Yes.
I think that's worth noting. One other thing, I appreciate you being so detailed in here. This is very clear, and I know it's long. It was long for you to read, but I appreciate it. I think it just creates a level of transparency I think that's needed so that we have trust across the board. One thing I would just like to make a note before voting on this is I know that First Student is a for-profit company, and I know you care a lot about safety, and I appreciate you mentioning that. That is, of course, the most important thing to all of us because you're hauling around the most important people in our lives. I would just encourage you to, when you're thinking about safety, the cameras that are on those buses. I've sat on this board before and watched when we have fights. I mean, I know my iPhone's got a really good camera. I know it does, right? That's why they cost $1,000, right? I would just really like to see higher quality cameras on those buses that have dummy lights like that one does in the back. See how it's on? And it's green right now. That means it's live and that it's working. Because when we have students who do have outbursts on the bus, we need to know who did it so we can kick them out and not let them back without hearsay. That makes it a safety issue to me, even though it's after the fact. Like, safety is the bus driver, get pulled over, get safe. But for us to be able to see clearly the whole story that you can see with a camera, I know that doesn't even cover it, but that would be the only thing. I would really like to see that it not be the cheapest one you can buy. That's all.
I do have a few things I'd like to say. I went back and watched the last meeting where the other two companies were giving their information, and I was concerned that it seemed like such a short time frame for this to get thrown together. But for student, because you were already our provider, you had a lot of that already. But I had a lot of questions, so I thought, why don't I ask some people that are on the front lines? So I asked a lot. I just put it out there. I asked for some bus drivers to give me some input. They're the ones that drive the bus every day. They're the ones that pick up the kids. They're the ones that know if the kids are at the bus stop. And I'm getting a lot of information. And of course, I don't know every bus driver that's responding to me that I'm having a conversation with. But overall, it seems that the underlying the main concern they had and the main thing that slows them down is this: parents don't have their kids at their bus stop at the time they are supposed to. So they have to wait. They wait and they wait for their kid to get there, the student, and they will not leave until they have confirmation that that student is either going to school or not going. So they have a lot to manage, and I know the routes are mapped out. I know there's some issues with the routes, and there are people that live here and have lived here for 30-some years or their whole life, 50-some years, and they might know a route that a new employee coming in doesn't know. And I think we have some value that we need to look at with our bus drivers. I had an intention to come to the bus garage today, and at about 2-something, that was the open time in my day, I got the notice that there was a major accident in town, and I thought, I am not going to go I wanted to talk to the routers, the managers, and I wanted to hear what your opinion was on what was good with your system and what is bad with your system. How can we improve it? So I know there's a lot out there that needs to be done, and the dollar amount, I would like to know a little bit, where's the 11% increase? Why is it so high? You know, that is concerning, but, so there's a lot to the puzzle. But understanding that the bus drivers are caring for our kids, they really care. I had so many people say that I thought I was gonna do this for a summer, I needed some extra money, and I've been here 34 years. And they get cussed out. They have the F word thrown at them, the B word, and what did they do about it? I mean, where's our discipline? Why do we allow that to happen? Why do we allow it to happen in the school? So this brings a lot to me. I'm probably going beyond what we're talking about, just the contract, but there's a lot here that we can work on, and I think as a team, we need to address some of these things and help the situation flow and help our kids get to school on time. Some kids are on the bus for an hour. Kindergartners are on the bus for an hour. I can't imagine what, you know, they're probably falling asleep if I have to wake them up to get them off the bus. So there's just a lot I have concerns about, and would hope that someone that knows our district can work with us, or we can work with you and try to figure out some of these things to make improvements so that kids are not missing instructional time. But parents, you have to get your kids where they need to be on time if you want everyone to succeed. And your failure to help your kids get to the bus on time, their bus stop, is hurting everyone.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the major accident in town today did not include our buses. I just want to be sure you know that. It was not us. Anybody else?
Yeah, is there a time frame on how long a bus driver has to wait for the students to get on the bus? Is there a specific?
It's 1 minute, isn't it? I think it's 1 minute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I just may address that, I think one of the things that we talked about literally today is waiting for parents to come back. And I think as a group.
Can you go to the microphone? They're asking.
Thank you.
I just wanted to provide some color on your question about, you know, one of the challenges that the drivers have. And I think as I was talking with my staff, they echoed the same thing. And I think we as a partner need to provide you guys the visibility of, we've got some habitual students and parent issues that need to be brought up to you. So it's not you on an island and people are feeling powerless that we can't get things moving. I think it's more of just coordinating and working together and collaborating.
And you've expressed the willingness to do that.
Absolutely.
To me, several times you have.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
I did have one, sorry, I know this has been a long one, guys. It took me a couple days to go through the bid packages. Like, they were very extensive. I was very impressed with First Student's bid package. It had data in there I wouldn't have even thought to ask for. So kudos for that. I think Jason Calloway is a major asset to your organization. I've dealt with him in a personal capacity on a very rough bus situation. We won't go into that. A personal bus situation with one of my children, and he handled it beautifully. I think our bus drivers are probably one of the most undervalued assets to a school district. I've toured the bus garage a couple times, and we need, as a board, to look at that. But that's a whole other issue. But I just want them to know you are valued. I don't care what company they work for, bus drivers are valued and needed. With that being said, we do have on-time issues, which I know we're all aware of. I know it's cutting into instructional time, and I think we do need to discuss what we can do to help fix that as a district.
One thing I didn't get a chance to mention on my opening comments, we did pull data, and from January through, I think it was the last board meeting, we are on time 93% of the time. And that's based off of how we measure. So that's something that we can provide. And when we're talking about transparency, that's the type of operational data that we can provide on a regular basis to the board and go through that. And it really comes down to that. Doesn't seem horrible, but if it's the same 7% every time that's missing it, that's some of the stuff that where we've got to get more down to the granular detail and provide that, an action plan to get that corrected.
And Mr. Hart told me on the phone when I talked to him about this, that the district does actually bill first student when they're not on time. And Mr. Hart's the one that's in charge of billing them, and he told me how much it was, and he's not here to confirm, but it was a lot and so there's an incentive, not just obviously getting them there on time, but I think what you said during public comments is more important. You get them there safely. I think that is like way more important, but obviously it's a balance, right? But way more important that they get there on safely than on time, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. We shall move along then and have a roll call vote.
Mrs. Town?
Abstain.
Ms. Payne?
No.
Mrs. Corley?
To verify, we're voting on first student retaining our
That's
current
correct.
contract.
That's correct.
Yes.
Dr. Holloran?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Holloran?
Yes. Motion carries 4, 1 abstention, and 1 no.
Thank you.
Item B, appointment of treasurer and bond approval.
Okay, this evening I also have a recommendation for the treasurer for the FY 26 school year. It is Miss Mary Chantos. Miss Mary has been employed in the business office with Denver 118 since August of 2015. And during this time, she has been an exceptional member of our team. She possesses excellent verbal and written communication skills. She is respected by the staff and administration for her hard work, commitment to customer service, and problem-solving skills. But more importantly, Ms. Chantos is meticulous when it comes to the detail required in a position that manages money. The treasurer position is the only position in the district that is required to be bonded, therefore the only position that can handle cash transactions in and out of the district daily. The premium for FY 26 will be $4,240. And so it is my recommendation that the Board of Education appoint Ms. Mary Chantos to the position of treasurer for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Roll call vote.
Ms. Town?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Dr. Holloran?
Yes.
Mrs. Holloran?
Yes. Thank you and welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item C, advertising with Best Version Media, Mrs. Pabst.
All right, good evening, everyone. Tonight, we are here with the recommendation for the Board of Education to decide to continue with or terminate the advertisement service, which is advertising with Best Version Media. This information is regarding the advertisement placed by the Danville Living and Central Illini Living magazine. To date, the print advertising total for the past 21-22 to current year is $26,762 with an additional $2,160 for digital targeting solutions. The total cost of the district thus far is $28,922. At this time, I ask for a recommendation for the board to decide to continue or terminate this advertisement service.
I would like to move that we terminate this service.
Second.
Any discussion? Anybody?
Well, I think saving money is good, especially since we just saw 6% less reimbursement for our buses. That's all I got to say about that.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Dr. Holloran?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Mrs. Holloran?
Yes. Motion carries 6-0 that we will terminate our agreement with Best Version Media. Mrs. Pabst.
At this time, I am going to ask for Dr. Holloran to speak on the behalf of the Business Office Finance External Audit recommendation that is going to the board tonight.
Thank you. is the recommendation of the Board of Education, or, I'm sorry, is a recommendation to the Board of Education to engage the services of legal representation of Kia Buchek, which is a law firm, to indicate and include the following. Number one, a broader inquiry into the district's financial practices and spending since October of 2021. Bullet point 2, potential Open Meetings Act violations by the Board of Education prior to May 7th, 2025. Bullet number 3, misuse and/or abuse of paid time off by administrative staff. This inquiry by Kia Buchek would be to provide legal advice regarding any potential litigation regarding these matters. The scope of the engagement may include, but is not limited to, interviews of employees or agents, document review, and related legal evaluation and recommendation. I'll enter that in the form of a motion.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So
I'm a-
moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about this? Is it clear with everyone?
I think it's important to have transparency. I think that word comes up a lot. Transparency is very good. I do wonder how much it'll cost, though. Do we know? We're billed by the hour,
We do know.
Let me check right here.
and we have a budget
read
line.
it.
We have a budget line for it, so it's technically budgeted, right?
Yes, sir. As for our fees for legal services, will be billed in 6-minute increments from $295 to $320 per hour, $275 to $295 per hour of non-equity partners, and $265 to $285 for senior associates. $255 to $275 per hour for associates, and $145 to $175 per hour for paralegals. Of course, these hourly rates may change from time to time, but only with advanced written notice from the law firm.
And there's no hidden fees like the city council had a few months ago where they found money and they had to pay millions of dollars or anything like that.
I don't know anything about that, but I'm saying no to that.
No
There's
hidden fees.
It is all
It's
in a
billable by the
contract.
hour.
Correct.
There's nothing, and like if they find that there's a bunch of money somewhere that they get half of it or anything like that.
No, you won't be, there'll be a contract, correct.
There'll be a contract. So we haven't gotten the contract yet.
We have an engagement letter to proceed.
Ah, so there'll be a contract for us to read and give to our lawyer to help us. That's good. Thank you. That's all I
You're
have.
welcome. You're welcome.
I just want to say that the seating of this board, one of the things that we assured the community was our transparency and that we're looking at these issues, and this is one of the first attempts to follow through with a promise that we made to the community. Anybody else? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Dr. Holland?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Holler?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Okay.
All right, I am back again, this time with Human Resources. This time we have an updated job description with one minor change. The position and the duties have not changed. We're just adding it to the job description, and that is for the Home Program Intervention Coordinator. At this time, we have added the piece of assisting the families with community resources, paperwork, appointments, and transportation utilizing district vans when needed. It is something, again, that this position already does. We just added it into the job description.
I'll
And it's-
entertain, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just a recommendation.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got it? Any questions, concerns? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Dr. Holland?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mrs. Holler?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
The next piece I have for tonight is the authorization for completion of what's called an H-1B petition process. This is coming from myself, as the district Director of Human Resources, with the grants with the Danville Association, the DEA. And what this is allowing us to do, if you agree with the recommendation, is to pursue
allowing a current teacher who we have at one of our buildings at Southview Elementary School, Upper Elementary School, to continue with employment here in District 118. They are a valued employee. They right now are working on what's called an OPT, an optional practical training. So they have 1 year here. If we can continue with their services with the H-1B petition, we have the potential to keep them on again next year as well. This employee is valued. They've done a wonderful job. The whole anyone at the school will tell you that, but also it's a position that's hard to fill as it is a strings orchestra position at that level. While we can find music teachers, it is difficult to find one who is well-rounded and versed with strings, and it was posted since 2017, and we would like to certainly work to keep this teacher employed with District 118. So again, a recommendation, I'm asking for authorization for completion of a H-1B petition process.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Dr. Holland?
Yes.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. C was amended, and now we are D.
Good evening. I am once back up again as Human Resources. Right now, I'm asking for the recommendation for reclassification of the Director of Operations.
I'd like to make a motion to table that until June 18th meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Dr. Holland?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes, motion carries to table that motion until the meeting on the 18th. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Okay, 14. We are asking for an administrative residency policy recommendation to amend 3.42 administrative residency policy. The superintendent shall reside within 15 miles of the geographical boundaries of Danville School District 118. The superintendent must provide sufficient proof of his or her residency as determined by the board. The terms of this policy may be included and made part of the superintendent's employment contract. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? A roll call vote.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mrs. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Easton?
Yes.
Mrs. Town?
Yes.
Dr. Holland?
Yes.
Mrs. Howard?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. And that gets to the end of this very long agenda. Thank you so much for, this was a lot of stuff we had to cover tonight. So we are at informational items. Mrs. Paps.
It's me again. Okay, a couple things. First, for informational items, we have, a lot of you may know, Circle Academy Day School. And this school is an educational entity dedicated to serving our students with special needs. And they are interested in expanding their program with our district. It's a good thing. At this time, we would like to open a collaborative dialogue with them regarding the possibilities of sharing space within our district for at least 3 to 4 classrooms dedicated to helping students in our special education program. The shared space could be beneficial to our students, and it could help up to anywhere from 15 to 24 students. It will help from therapeutic to appropriate programmings and programs for our learners. So at this time, we just want to open the dialogue with them to better serve our students in the district.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move on to my next one. You'll see the RCDTS, and this is for, this is a number, it's a code that Illinois State Board of Education uses. Right now, the Carl facility, also known as North Campus, needs to be named. In order for us to have an RCDT code from the Illinois State Board of Education. The code is necessary for all of us in our school system. It's necessary for the facility to be recognized as a school. We obviously will be utilizing the process outlined in the board policy, which is number 4150, Facility Management and Building Programs, at this time to name the school North Campus for the time being. And again, this is to have an RCDTS code.
Thank you. Do you have other comments?
I do. Let me get that out. And again, I'm here on behalf of Mr. Hart, so please bear with me as I read his comments, and of course, added a few of my own to this as well. So I first want to say thank you to all of our staff. We are at the end of a long year. Every year is long, and I want you all to know, on behalf of all of us, I'm speaking for myself and everybody sitting up here, I'm sure, that we thank you for showing up every day, and we thank you for your hard work. And obviously, we couldn't function without each and every one of you, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now on to Mr. Hart's superintendent comments. DHS state track qualifiers. We've had a big run here, and we have congratulations for our DHS boys and girls teams for an outstanding track season this year. For the DHS girls, we want to congratulate Samantha Brown on finishing 12th in the pole vault for the IHSA state finals. This caps off a stellar season where she broke 2 school records in the event, and she's only a sophomore. Yeah, she's got she's going to show up even more next year. Also, congratulations to our DHS girls 4x100 meter relay consisting of Jemiah Esther, Janaea Parker, Samantha Brown, Ashante Conaway, who finished 8th place in IHSA state finals. For our boys, congratulations to Matthew Sherman, Demario Jackson, Victor Jones, and Jerry Reed III for qualifying in individual events, and to the 4x200 meter relay team, Miles Littlepage, Alante Anderson, Jerry Reed III, Demario Jackson for qualifying in state competition. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome. All right, Staff Appreciation Night was at Turtle Run on May 22nd. We had over 200 District 118 staff members. It was amazing. It was a great gathering. It was our 2nd annual year of doing this at Turtle Run. The weather actually turned out to be beautiful. I know that was a worry of Ms. Robinson's and myself, and we had a good time. Special thanks go out to Miss Lakeisha Robinson. She puts in a lot to get this planned and to make it work, and it definitely goes noticed. Thank you for all that. Special thanks, thank you, Ms. Robinson. Special thanks to Heather Smith and April Hicks from Classic Homes Realty for sponsoring of all the beverages for our staff, to the Danville Public School Foundation for their raffle prizes, and to Dan Ditchfield from Horace Mann, who also gave us some really nice gift cards as well. Our staff is extremely special to each and every one of us, and they deserve to be celebrated daily. DHS graduation was on Saturday, May 24th, and it was a milestone for our students. It was their big day of graduation. We had approximately 241 students walk across the stage at the Palmer Arena and on to their respective futures. We congratulate these graduates and their families, it takes all of us, and wish them nothing but success. And I also want to add to that, thank you to our staff that showed up. I saw a lot of staff blasting congratulations across Facebook as well, and many of you working the graduation. Thank you for coming to support and encouraging our students and our grads. Last but not least, I have 2 more things. Let's say to Danville Mayor Ricky Williams, thank you for providing each and every one of our D118 students with a 1-day pass to the pool center here at Garfield Park. Each student will receive their pass with their report card on the last day of school. So make sure you come for your report card so you get that free pass. And thank you again, Mr. Ricky Williams, for your generosity. And I just want to kudos Mr. Trent Schofield. Amazing. All I can say, wow, simply amazing. I'm grateful, appreciative, and really ready to work collaboratively with him for the better of our community. I know that you do a lot, Mr. Bases, with him, and he's one special person. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Easton.
It's been long, so I'll just be brief. I just wanted to say thank you to Pastor Tom Miller. We're grateful for your service to the district, to this community. I've worked with Pastor Miller for more than 13 years, both professionally and on this board, and I know he cares very much about students, and I just want to tell him publicly and thank you. And whoever is going to fill his shoes have big shoes to fill. Someone I hope that cares as much about students as he does, and that's all for me.
Thank you. Dr. Halloran.
It's an honor to be on this board, and it was a particular honor to be able to shake the hands of and hand diplomas to all of our graduates this past weekend. It was a wonderful celebration.
I want to extend my congratulations to the 3 outstanding educators who received the David Fields Excellent in Teaching Award. Your dedication, passion, and impact in the classroom are truly deserving of this honor. To all of our incredible staff, thank you for your unwavering dedication and commitment to our district. This year has brought many challenges and trials, and we're truly grateful for all of you. Our condolences go out to the family of Timmy Brooks. He was an IT specialist for our district and passed away suddenly on May 17th, so our hearts and prayers are with his family. I'm especially proud of Simone Modest. She was a Northeast kiddo, so I did not know that, so I'm glad Mr. Bretz told us about that tonight, about her avid summer intern in Chicago. Trent Sherfield, amazing. And the 8th grade Step Up program for Northridge, I was able to attend that. That was amazing. And today was KDBA. Mitz Campbell and her team put on an exceptional program. It was very apparent the love that our staff has for these students. That is what blew me away. They're very, very close with these students, and the students felt it. It was just amazing to witness. So that is all I have.
I wanted to say this before I voted for the first student information. I want to be completely transparent. We have a family business that sells welding supplies, and I know it's used at the garage for your buses and possibly your fire extinguishers on the buses. So I abstained, not because I don't think you're going to do a great job. I also wanted to say, if Mr. Bretz was still here, that graduation was phenomenal. It was so, I just felt like everybody was well-mannered. He had it put together to the minute. It started on time. Everyone looked wonderful. They did what they were supposed to do, and I had a daughter in the class, but I got to shake the hands of and hug several of her classmates that we've known since kindergarten at Northeast. And then I would like to shout out to the DHS girls soccer team who, see some hands back there, yay. I believe it's all confirmed. Mallory Franey is a first-year coach. She was a player under a lady named Mrs. Betsy Porter, who is now our principal, one of our principals at the high school. Betsy has a daughter named Lindsay. Lindsay is playing on Betsy's team, or on Mallory's team. We had the most wins this year, 12 wins, which maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is the first year. I've had girls, and she's my daughter is the third of mine, and this is the first year we played with a season over 500. I know that sounds a little like, but they did great. This was their best year, and Mallory was completely excited and did a lot to further that. But I also want to say that we had these kids together. My husband was a coach when they were younger, so the Trent Sherfield thing kind of plays into this. When you get your community together and you have the kids together and they're going to play together for so many years, it was something that Danville didn't have at DASA that the Bismarck team could do, Westville could do. They could play their kids together from kindergarten to 12th grade, and we had to mix up our kids in Danville. So I just think that unity shows. So that's this group, that this was one of those groups that we got to keep together for so long. So that's it.
I as well attended a number of programs this past week, starting with the high school graduation. It was very well done. The students, as others have stated, were very well behaved. Parents, and then I went to Northridge for their Step Up program, which I thought was very interesting. All the students had on these special shirts, t-shirts, that showed them going from Northridge to stepping up to the high school, and the principal of the high school welcomed them as well. But today, I went to Kenneth Bailey Academy for their promotion. It was such an intimacy and closeness. I mean, you can just feel the love and the affection that the staff had for these students. I want to track some of these kids and see how they do at the high school. If they don't do well, it's not because of the staff, at the academy because they've done everything and have gone beyond what was necessary. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kudos to the recipients of the Dr. Davis L. Fields Excellence in Teaching Awards, and Staff Appreciation Day was great. The district, we had, like Ms. Pap said, huge numbers. They all seemed to enjoy themselves, as did I, not to mention the big burgers. They were wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and enduring this long agenda for one of our very first meetings as a board as we move forward. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Mr. Bases, for your attentiveness to Trent. It's your relationship with him that helps him to come back. And we appreciate that very much. And Trent, we appreciate you more than you know. Avid student Simone, thank you, and congratulations to you for your Summer Institute appointment. That's going to be awesome. I need to amend the agenda to go back into closed session before we adjourn, so we're not done yet. We will return to closed session, but no action will be taken. So thank you, and please keep Mr. Hart and his family in your thoughts tonight. He could use all of our good thoughts coming his way. So thank you very much. We appreciate everybody.